How do you add value to your classic car? How do you make it shine on the show field? How do you protect your paintwork and make it last that bit longer? Well, we've brought our 1987 Ford Orion here to the detailing experts at Meguiars UK in Daventry to answer those questions and more. Okay, so here we are with our 1987 Ford Orion, which we've had for just over a year now, but in all that time, despite the fact it's only got 15,000 miles on the clock, it has sat outside an awful lot, a lot of sunlight, a lot of contaminants. So thankfully, Dale here at Meguiars is hopefully going to breathe a bit of lustre back into our Galaxy Blue paint job. As a brand, we love a faded car. And this oxidation that happens on these older period cars at a single stage paint, you think of a modern car that has clear coat lacquer on it, doesn't suffer from this kind of pigment breakdown. Yeah, it's pretty extreme, isn't it? Yeah, so back in the day, this car was just painted in that colour. There wasn't any base coat lacquer. So that's why you do get this rash, the UV damage form on the paint. Luckily, it's an easy fix. And we're going to use some gentle processes today to not only make it look good, but feel good as well. So is the process going to be slightly different because of that type of paint job as opposed to a more modern finish? Yeah, so with a modern car, you can go a bit harder. You could go with a machine polisher. With an older car like this, we don't know how long this paint's been on there. You don't know if it's been repainted. So we want to always start with the soft approach first. Right. So we're going to clay it first to make sure it feels good. Okay. And then we're going to use our 3-in-1 wax, and we're going to explain why we're using that rather than like a harsh compound or anything like that to gently revive the colour. Okay, great. Let's get cracking. So before we do any of the fun stuff with our 3-in-1 wax, we need to address this. Right. So if you run your hand on the paint, you can hear and feel that there's contaminants sitting on the paint. Now that could be rotar, tree sap, industrial fallout, could be all sorts. Could be overspray. So we're going to use clay bar to remove above surface contaminants. Now it's not going to change how the paint looks, but it's going to make it feel 10 times better. One, we want it to feel good, it to feel as good as it looks, but we want to remove that contaminant before doing any polishing because we don't want to feed it into the paint and cause any damage. Right, okay. So you mentioned you've never clayed before. I've never clay barred. Perfect. So this is clay. This is our China clay. Nice. And again, this is not an abrasive product, it erodes. So it removes contaminant rather than digging into the paint. Okay. Now, the reason we say it won't make the paint look any better is because it only handles contaminants sitting on the paint, not subsurface. So staining, swirls, scratches, clay will just glide straight over. Okay. But it's an essential step before the subsurface defects are removed. Okay. So first of all, we're gonna get the clay nice and warm and sticky. So the warmer and sticky you get it, the more malleable is the word I was taught to say. The more malleable you get it, the easier it is to work with. I feel like we're in the bake-off. Exactly that, yeah. So once you get it to a nice patty like that, we're going to get you can get it as much if you do drop it, obviously we've got to throw it away. Let's not do that. Don't drop the clay. We do have spare, so it's a good talking point. So anytime you buy a clay bar, you get a clay bar, always cut it in half. That way, if you do drop it on the floor, you've got that spare part. Good idea, good tip. So, clay's not only part of this process, we've got the detailer as well. So this is our quick detailer. Essentially, it's the lubricant. So this is not going to gloss enhance or protect the paint. It's just offering a slippery surface for the clay. Yeah. Because we need to gently glide over this surface. Okay. So, just going to spray the surface like this, and spray the clay. And then in clean cross-hatch motions, I'm just going to go up and down, left and right. Now you notice I'm not doing circles because they're too random. I just want a nice militant cross-hatch motion. Yep. That way I know I'm getting even coverage. Okay. And then when you look at the clay, you'll start seeing the clay start to look a bit dirty and tarnished. So even though it's been cleaned, there's still contaminants in the paint that are making it feel rough and also can make it look a bit bad. So how was that? Oh, that was great. First time, nice and easy. Very easy. I'm surprised how much contaminant are in there. Incredible. And it's amazing how you can't see them. No, absolutely. So what you need to do before we're tackling any other areas of the car, knead and fold that again because you want to work that contaminant into the clay, and then when you start a new section, it's nice and folded. So if you fold it over, there you go. Yep. And that means it's fresh and ready for a new section. And all I'm going to do is wipe this down and remove the excess product.
and then we're nice and prepped for the next stage, which will be the colour enhancement and protection.
Great.
Now we're going to do that in one step using our 3-in-1 wax.
Okay.
The reason we're using that is because it's a gentle paint cleaner, which means it revives tired colours. It contains polishing oils to give this darker colour a nice kind of wet look finish, but also it contains wax, so it's going to give it that protection. So with a car like this, regular waxing is key to making sure it stays looking good.
Right, okay.
So within the world of Meguiars, we always talk about choosing the right product, right accessory and the right technique. So there's not kind of like one size fits all route to detailing when it comes to paint correction. Now this car is an older paint, we address that, so we address the problems that working with an older paint can give you. One of those things is because it's single stage paint, you will get a lot of colour transfer. So when we're working the product in, you're going to see blue
come off on that pad,
onto the paint. So this is just to address that it is an older style. It's nothing to be feared, it's expected. It just means that you have to be a little bit more gentle with it. Because if you go in too hard, it's like running your hand through sand. You'll always see where you've been. So we want to use soft approaches to make sure we can detail it without seeing big machining marks or white marks or anything like that. So that's why we're going to be using our 3-in-1 wax. So again, this has got gentle paint cleaners and polishing oils to revive that colour, but also give it a light layer of protection. So I'm going to be using a soft foam applicator pad, ultra soft. We're not using anything firm. And I'm going to be doing small sections at a time. So a small amount of product on the pad, like this. And then for each area, so I'm going to do like this area, I'm going to do some lines like this. And then as I'm working in tight circles, I'm going to go over the lines. This way, each section's getting an equal share of product, and we're not just overloading and saturating the paint.
Okay, that's a good idea.
So we're not going to press down too hard, we're just gently reviving the paint and just working it in. Because essentially, we're kind of gently exfoliating the skin, taking the dead skin off.
So satisfying.
You can start to see it's starting to look deeper. Get your microfiber towel, make sure it's nice and folded like this, because then there's less pressure on the paint. And then nice tight circles, we're going to gently remove it, as you can see.
And a bit of a silly question, but a microfiber cloth, why do people always recommend a microfiber cloth?
Yeah, sure. So there's a few different reasons. Obviously the high fiber count means it captures products and removes it very quickly. And plus it's soft. We would avoid using kind of like blue paper towels or anything like that, or like a chamois to remove anything like that. You want a nice absorbent towel. The biggest question we get is, do I apply with a towel? You'll see a lot of people apply a polish with a towel, but because it's naturally very absorbent, you lose a lot of the good stuff into the towel and you're left with like a dry layer on the top.
Having to use more of it.
Exactly that, and then you're kind of not choosing the right product or accessory. So always apply with a pad, remove with a towel.
Good. Wow, I mean, what a difference. Amazing already. We'll do the reveal.
Peel to reveal, that's it.
Peel to reveal, here we go. Wow.
Yeah, so without really doing too much, we've managed to give it a bit of life again, give it some protection, remove that hazing and the rash on the top, and and I think this process is great for this era of car because it's, like you said, honest. You want the cars to look how they should. If it is like immaculately perfect, it kind of wouldn't fit the period, but I think this is a nice gentle way of presenting a car of this era without overworking it.
And let's suppose we now do the whole paint job and get it looking as good as that. What do we then do to keep on top of it? I
would maintain using a spray wax. So something like our hybrid ceramic spray wax or our ultimate quick wax, because what we want to do is gently apply a wax and kind of wipe without overworking or buffing the surface, because like we said earlier, it's a very absorbent, grabby paint. So either just using the 3-in-1 wax every few weeks or every other month, depending if it's kept indoors or outdoors, or just using a nice spray wax, mist onto the towel, wipe it down.
Fantastic. Well, that was amazing. Really quick, really effective.
Exactly that. So we've chosen the right product and the right technique to make sure this car not only feels good, but looks good. So we used our clay to make it feel smooth and obviously remove above surface contaminants. Then we used our 3-in-1 wax to remove that kind of hazing and the UV damage, give it some gloss and also a light layer of protection. Perfect. Well, I hope you enjoyed all those tips. Big thanks to Dale at Meguiars here, and as you can see, the Orion's looking fantastic already, and now we need to probably do the rest of the paint job. Yes.